So today was my first time in the Nova Scotia legislature, okay? And I believe it's the oldest legislature in Canada.
Yeah.
How does that feel being part of that history? It's a pretty impressive place.
Yeah, it is actually. It's a remarkable place. And I mean, I've been elected since 2013, so I've been in there quite a bit. But there's a couple really interesting things about that building. One of them is that's the building where Joseph Howe gave his famous speech on the freedom of the press. It's now a library now, but at one point it was in that building. It was the Supreme Court, and he was a newspaperman, and he was on trial for what he was saying in his publication. So he gave an argument that the press should be free to write whatever they want without fear of the premier of the day trying to put him in jail. So he gave a 7-hour speech on that. So that happened right in that building. And he was successful, obviously. We know that the press is free and they write what they want.
And this is kind of like, in a sense, kind of the start of Canada. When you're in your chair with all that past, how do you handle that? Like, is it a lot of pressure? Is it kind of just roll with it?
It's a bit of both, honestly. Sometimes you think a lot about it. And I know from that chair, the decisions that I make have an impact on all Nova Scotians. And sometimes nationally and internationally. Things that are happening here are watched elsewhere. So you think about that, but you're always trying to move forward. And I think to the point about the start of Canada, there's a lot of talk about defense right now and defense spending increase in meeting our NATO commitment. But Nova Scotia, by some accounts, most accounts, Nova Scotia has about 40% of Canadian Armed Forces assets. Personnel, obviously the biggest base in the country is here, CP Halifax. The naval assets are there, but also Air Force and Army. If you think about it strategically from that point of view, like there was lots of people before us who did think it was the start of Canada. What do you love about Nova Scotia? The people. My father was in the Armed Forces, so I'm a military brat. We had a lot of postings. I was actually born in Halifax, but then we were in Summerside, we were in Trenton, Ontario, we were in Comox, British Columbia. So his postings were always within Canada, but I saw many parts of Canada. Just the opportunity to see that, then grow up here, grew up in Halifax and did junior high school, university here. Then in 1995, Carol and I got married. So that's the year I became a chartered accountant. I got my designation. We got married and we moved away. And we spent 12 years away. We were in Bermuda. Our kids were born there. But there's always this pull back to home. Blue nosers would say they always usually come back. For me, it's when I think about living in different places, you meet lots of good people. There's lots of beautiful things about all kinds of places in the world, especially across our country. But that coming home to be part of Nova Scotia, be with Nova Scotians, it's a pretty special thing. But outside of the people, I mean, Halifax is a very vibrant city. There's lots going on here, incredible growth going on. But within a 2-hour drive, you can be on literally some of the best golf courses in the world. Internationally ranked golf courses, or 2 hours another way, and be in we call it the Napa Valley of the East. We have our own wine region here as well. Just so much to see and do, and all of it surrounded by 13,000 kilometers of coastlines. Amazing beaches, cliffs, hiking trails. So there's a lot that we have to offer, but I keep coming back. It's just sharing that experience with Nova Scotians.
Is there a way to increase like tourism in Nova Scotia? Are you looking to grow that part of Nova Scotia?
Yeah,
Get people to discover it a little more, or is it enough as it is?
No, tourism is an incredibly important part of our economy. I think it's in the almost $4 billion part of our economy. It's pretty massive. So we have a lot of different experiences to offer people. So we're always looking to grow that sector. I think that's incredible potential there for us, the tourism space, but the opportunities and experiences that we can offer, festivals and the arts and culture. I've never heard, or certainly never met anyone who came to Nova Scotia and say, well, I'll never do that again. That's not what they say after they've been here.
So now there's been a big federal shift when it comes to energy security. You talked about it today when you were speaking. It's sort of like this phrase of energy superpower. Do you feel that we are finally in the position as a country where we will actually develop resources?
We have to. Look at Nova Scotia right now. We have a budget that's being debated before the legislature right now. $1.2 billion deficit, 2 years in a row. In a province of 1 million people, these are big numbers. And so the discussion goes to, well, what are you going to cut? Or what are you not going to cut? And that's kind of a fool's discussion. We need to be talking about how do we grow so we can do more for our citizens and we can offer more and provide more. Nova Scotia is not unique. You look across the country, every province is in the exact same situation. The federal government is in the same situation. So we have to ask ourselves, how did we get here? And why did we get here? And then how do we get out of that situation? And Nova Scotia is also not unique in how we got here. We have incredible resources, but we haven't developed them because there's different voices that just say, no, we don't want to do that. We don't want to talk about that. Let's just keep doing what we're doing. And it's not sustainable for the long term. We have to go to our strengths. And in our strengths, defense, I mentioned, that's a strength, and there'll be investments into strength in defense, and we should be pushing for those to come here. But we also we're rich in minerals and opportunities. We're rich in gas and oil, but these are all things that we've just kind of put to the side. And we've kind of reached the place where we say, well, that's not relevant to the discussion. But they are relevant to the discussion. Even in some of the protests I saw recently, I saw one person with a sign that said, "Stop the government cuts." And then the next person had a sign that said, "Leave it in the ground." And I thought to myself we haven't done a good job of explaining to Nova Scotians how those two things are related. If we move on our natural resources, then we can do more for Nova Scotians.
Why do you think that is? Because I've wondered that for quite a while, because it seems like it's sort of like if someone gets beef at the grocery store. Like myself, I could not kill a cow. I eat beef all the time. But if you asked me to go and kill a cow, and I couldn't do it, right? But I'll eat the beef, right? Do you think that's part of it? People don't understand what pays the bills. So it's coming from Alberta, one of the things that, like, we were always talking about the energy pipeline, and when Albertans feel very much like we're a very generous province. We not even just in the sense of like the taxes that leave Alberta, but just the people who come from Nova Scotia or Newfoundland. They come and work, and it provides opportunities. It's mutually beneficial. But then when it comes down to how do we afford in Alberta to contribute to the country, it's because we sell oil. And if we need help with that, like a pipeline or something of that nature, there's such pushback. With Trump threatening the annexation of Canada and kind of going like this every couple days, it has been an interesting awakening.
Yes.
You know, to a little bit more, hey, like we need to make sure that we're taking care of ourselves. But I guess two questions. Why do you think that there is such a disconnect when it comes to what energy actually provides? And the next one is like, can we fix it? The
disconnect is in energy, but it's in all kinds of areas, right? So I think one thing Canadians have realized is, like, we love our country. We want to protect our sovereignty. We want to make sure that we can provide for each other. And we started to ask, well, that's a threat. That's being threatened. So we have to do something. We haven't really had that stark reality before. So you see it in things like interprovincial trade. I mean, we've been trying to push hard to remove the interprovincial trade barriers just so people can trade freely across our country. That's been a difficult discussion in the past because there's so many little protectionist areas. Well, we don't want to trade in this because we build it here, and but we've kind of gotten away from that free market competition. So it's in energy, it's in every good and service you can think of, but we're making progress on that. And then so now the energy is the last kind of frontier where we have to just be honest about the incredible value we have. The resources, incredible. It's going to take some work to develop it and monetize it. We don't have to recreate the wheel. So I think the combination of social media and some of the documentaries out there that have kind of scared a lot of people. So for us, we have to overcome that, especially in Nova Scotia, where we had a 10-year ban on onshore development.
Why did they have the 10-year ban on onshore development?
I haven't asked the Premier of the day if he would do it again. Like I don't actually know, but at the time, I remember they had a commission that went around the province, and there was lots of protests there, and then I think somebody said, well, let's not do that. But they didn't really think the ramifications of saying that, because now we have a credible gas resource onshore in Nova Scotia. We don't develop any of it. We get all of our gas mostly from Alberta through the United States. We're paying in Nova Scotia like $15 a unit for natural gas. In Alberta, it's like $3, $4, $5, something like that. And people say, well, that doesn't impact me. Well, it does impact you. It impacts you in a massive way, because a lot of our plants and factories, they're on natural gas. Even in a city like Halifax, most of the big apartment buildings, they're on gas. And our utility, Nova Scotia Power, 20% of their inputs are gas. So no matter where you're at, it's impacting you. And it hasn't been visible to people, but I'm trying to make it visible to them so that they can say, all right, maybe we should talk about that. And yes, we have to talk about it and we have to get moving on it. In the energy spaces, I'm most excited about the energy opportunities because there are lots of opportunities for us in seafood and defense and other sectors, but energy is one that we really haven't even tapped it at all. It's our time, really. When you hear the Prime Minister talking about energy superpower, Canada being an energy superpower, I like that. I get really excited about that because I know not only can Nova Scotia contribute to that, Nova Scotia can be an energy superpower in its own right and help push our country forward. So first off, of course, you have to talk about the oil and gas. We have incredible gas potential offshore and incredible oil potential offshore. Could be as much as, I hear up to 150 trillion cubic feet in the offshore and 8 billion barrels of oil. There's been quite a bit of assessment on them, but they're probable and they need to be proven out and they're big opportunities. So right now we're trying to put that on the radar of people.
Are you looking for companies to start exploring and invest in Nova Scotia?
Absolutely, yeah. We have a very established regulatory system, and they have a call for bids open at the moment on the offshore. Certain parcels have been put out there. Those will wrap up towards the end of April. But there's the data room. There's lots of activity there. I've been personally traveling around trying to look people in the eye and tell them, Canada is serious about developing these resources. Nova Scotia is serious, and we want you to be interested. So I'm cautiously optimistic about the feedback we're receiving there. We've been in this business in the past. It stopped in 2018. There's a number of reasons why, but the potential is still there, and the political support is there, and it's time.
So CNRL just announced that they were postponing a project in Fort McMurray area for $8 billion. There's been a lot of projects, so Tech Mine, I think that was like a $15 billion project. They canceled it. They said they didn't want to pursue it. You had Biden cancel the Keystone XL pipeline. You still have a lot of politicians, even though Scandinavia is sending natural gas to Germany. How do you deal with that sort of the reluctance to make a move because they're worried the government of the day will change and just like that pull the plug?
Yeah, I think in the industry they call that the above ground risk, the political climate, and that's been real in this country but I think a couple of things. Number one, the narrative has switched dramatically. I think we have the Prime Minister talking about it, and Minister Hudson's been great, and we're focused on it. So myself, I personally went and met with a lot of companies and a lot of people to say we are serious. And they do ask the question, where are you at in your mandate? And what happens when you're gone? So I did commit to Nova Scotians that I will seek another mandate. So try to offer that type of stability. But I think the overall narrative is changing, that Canadians know that we have to do something. There was a stat here in Nova Scotia. If you looked at the GDP per capita across North America, so 50 states and provinces, didn't count the Canadian North. So of those 60 jurisdictions, you looked at GDP per capita, you'd see like New York State, number one, Massachusetts, number two. You look down the list, Alberta was the first province to show up. I think they were 15th or 16th. But if you keep looking down the list, then you see Alabama, Mississippi, keep looking at West Virginia. And at the bottom was Nova Scotia.
So you have to do something.
Yeah. So when I tell Nova Scotians that, it's embarrassing because there's no need of that with everything we have. So when I tell them, they say, well, that's not. I say, no, it's not. And then they say, well, we have to do something, Tim. And I say, yes, we have to do something. And we know what to do. We have to develop our resources. Well, let's do it. So I think that whole narrative, people's understanding of the financial challenges, people understanding of the global challenges, the uncertainty in the world, that we need to move to our strengths.
When this whole sort of annexation of Canada came up, I actually, because I didn't really pay attention to the GDP, but Canada, we're behind Texas.
Yeah.
As a country, as a whole country.
Yeah.
Right. So it's you're right. Alberta and Ontario are kind of, but they're not even near the top states.
No.
And so I think it is a bit of a wake up call, but there's something that has to be triggered in us. Are we just too content as a country, maybe? Because we have such potential.
We do. We have smart people. We have great resources. We have a wonderful, wonderful country with so much opportunity. There's a little bit of that is kind of a Canadian thing in some ways, but I think that's changed with President Trump's threats against the country, just with the insecurity of what's happening in the world, people's jobs, and are we going to, there's a war in Europe and our price of gasoline goes through the roof. But why did that happen? So people are starting to have a better understanding of the threats. And because they understand the threats and the uncertainty a bit more, they're more willing to talk about protecting ourselves and looking out for ourselves. So I think that narrative has changed. The politicians will change, but as long as the narrative from Canadians and the feelings of Canadians stay steady, then we're good. And I think it's there, and I think it'll stay.
What is your message to the world about doing business in Nova Scotia?
It's time to come to Nova Scotia. And this is like, when I've been going around, I would talk to executives and say, "Are you thinking about Nova Scotia?" And they'd say, "I haven't thought about Nova Scotia in 20 years." I'd say, "Well, you need to, and here's why." We would talk about the potential resources. We'd talk about the regulatory structure out there. We'd talk about the commitment of government and Nova Scotians. And I think so we're putting ourselves back in the discussion. But what I would say is this is a place where you can come, you can develop resources it will help Nova Scotians. We know that there has to be a structure that Nova Scotians can participate and benefit from it, but it'll help the country, and it's actually good for energy security for everyone.
You're not just the Premier, you're also the Energy Minister. Why do you have two portfolios?
Yeah, because being Premier wasn't busy enough. I wanted to send a message to Nova Scotians, to industry, that this is how serious we are about it. That I will personally invest my time as Premier, but also Energy Minister, to make sure we get things moving along. I don't think it's certainly at this point in time for this period, I thought holding that portfolio as well was a message that needed to be sent, and I thought we could get stuff moving too.
To the critics that'll say you're damaging the environment when you pursue this type of way to get natural gas, what do you say to them? And how are you going to protect Nova Scotia and protect the coast and all of that from potential problems?
Yeah, I think people are concerned. They have concerns, and some of them are legitimate and some of them are not, but it's our responsibility to recognize that the concerns exist and try to work with people to mitigate them in a reasonable way. So on the onshore, the agreement with Dalhousie, working through Dalhousie, is mainly designed to try to build some public confidence of what can be done safely, what can be done sustainably, and the same in the offshore. And I think what I keep going back to Nova Scotians and saying is, this is not new technology. The technology is changing all the time, but we're not developing it here. These are things that are happening all over the world. In our offshore, which is a massive area.
How big is it?
It's about 2/3 of the Gulf. And I think, a couple multiples of the North Sea, the area we were talking about for development there. And so I use those reference points because in our offshore, to date, there's maybe 12 pins or wells that have been but think about how many have done in the Gulf, and think of how many have been done in the North Sea. So we're just trying to bring that technology in. It's getting better every day too, to hear it. And same on the onshore. I mean, we've had a ban on stimulation and onshore development for 10 years, but in that time, there's been tens of thousands of wells drilled and stimulations done and fracked and all that stuff. It's happening a lot in basins that are similar to ours. So we have to work with Nova Scotians to give them the confidence, and many are willing to listen. There will always be some that are not. That's okay. That's what government is. Just have the courage to kind of make sure we get to the point where enough information is there and we can be confident. But we can do it safely. We can do it sustainably. And I believe we have to do it.
The people of Nova Scotia, your voters, how are they? It seems to have done a 180. The entire country is. I've never seen it more pro-energy in my entire life. Right. That being said, will that hold? Will that? I almost look at it like a bit of a self-preservation. You want social programs, you want healthcare, you want all these things. You need money to pay for it. Natural resources are the best way to build that base for every country in the world. How are you going to be sure that the will of the people is in this direction? I think
just by being methodical about it and just kind of doing the work to work with them, engage them, inform them, and show them how it will benefit them. People care about that too. How it will benefit your community, how it will benefit the province, but how it will benefit you personally. And the more successful we are then we can bring your energy costs down in the fullness of time. We can have more money for better healthcare, for better schools, better roads. So connecting those dots, I think, is the responsibility of government. But I think they're getting connected.